Have you ever felt like you're living with a handbrake on? You wake up tired, work without soul, make half-hearted decisions, and by the end of the day, you still blame yourself for not being more productive, more focused, more yourself? Yeah. No one told you, but confusion comes at a cost. And it doesn't just steal your productivity, it drains your courage, it erodes your boundaries, it turns you into someone who says yes when you should say no, who accepts when you should fight, who delays when you should act. Confusion is not lack of intelligence, it's too many unfiltered voices. You're not lost. You're drowning in excess, too much information, too many expectations, unresolved pasts. And while this happens, a silent truth watches you. Every time you hesitate, an untaken decision takes over you from within. This is the time to stop. Breathe. This video isn't about cheap motivation. It's about something that transforms lives, clarity. True clarity doesn't shout. It doesn't impose. It doesn't come from more ideas. It's born when you silence everything that's not you. And listen for the first time in a long while to your inner compass. You don't lose clarity all at once. It leaks away slowly, like a dripping faucet you don't notice. At first, it's just mild discomfort. A thought that persists, a task that drags on, a fatigue without a name. But suddenly you're trapped in a silent maze where everything seems urgent except you. Waking up already tired, jumping from task to task, working hard and feeling like nothing truly mattered. That's not failure, that's excess. Too much noise, too many ideas. Too many voices that aren't yours. Because the truth is, confusion is not stupidity. Confusion is the result of listening too much to the world and too little to yourself. And then, when everything seems important, you freeze. You try to fix everything at once. But the essential, what truly deserves your energy, doesn't scream. It whispers. And only those in peace can hear it. Without clarity, even your strength becomes weakness. You spend energy trying to look productive. You say yes to things you don't believe in, and you start living like a ghost of yourself. Present everywhere, but absent from yourself. You know what's worse? We get used to it. We get used to not deciding, to not choosing, to letting life push us around. But every untaken decision weakens you. Every time you hesitate, a part of you gives up being heard. And little by little, you become a stranger in your own skin. Have you felt that? Like you have talent, but don't know where to use it. Like you have drive, but don't know where to start. It's like being at sea in a boat without a compass. The current pulls you. The wind changes. And you spin and never arrive. And here comes a hard truth. Those without clarity will always be controlled by those who have it. The confused mind follows the loudest voice, not the wisest. And that voice is often fear, or judgment, or guilt. And those voices know how to disguise themselves as reason, as responsibility, as obligation. But clarity doesn't impose. It reveals itself when you stop, when you silence the noise, when you dare to listen to what's been buried for years. Now think with me, how much have you already lost by not knowing what you really wanted? How much time have you spent trying to please everyone? How many promises have you made to yourself and broken simply because you lacked the clarity to sustain them? It's not easy to carry that question, but it sets you free. Because clarity begins there. The moment you decide you can no longer live in confusion, you can no longer live in debt to your own truth. Have you ever wondered why some people walk with such certainty while others keep stumbling over their own choices? It's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not luck. It's clarity. But clarity doesn't appear out of nowhere. It doesn't come like a divine revelation while you're scrolling through your feed hoping for motivation. Clarity is forged in the friction between what you want and what you tolerate. Every human being wants freedom, peace, purpose, but many are trapped not by the chains of fate, but by the compromises they've made along the way. It's like walking with stones in your shoes and pretending everything's fine. Eventually, you either stop or bleed. And that pain, however silent, charges high interest. Because living out of alignment with what you want is living in debt to your soul. Many people say, I want to change, but they don't realize they're trying to change, while still protecting everything that keeps them exactly where they are. You want to be productive, but still tolerate distractions as if you had infinite time. You want peace, but still carry burdens that aren't yours, just to avoid disappointing others. You want freedom, but still cling to promises you made out of fear, not truth. And that's when the conflict arises. One part of you wants to grow, another wants to stay comfortable. One part wants to break free, another wants to preserve. And while those two sides fight inside you, life keeps moving on. But clarity won't show up until you make a radical decision. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. It's not about shouting goals to the universe. It's about looking your routine in the eyes and asking, what am I still accepting that I should have let die long ago? That question is a turning point. Because there comes a moment when you stop chasing what you want and start sustaining what you've chosen. And that's when the magic begins. You stop saying, I want to, and start living like someone who declares, I'm committed. Real goals aren't fleeting desires. They're commitments to versions of yourself that don't exist yet. And every time you honor that commitment, a piece of the old you dies, and a new you is born. But beware, that birth is painful. You'll have to disappoint expectations that kept you accepted but never whole. You'll have to say no to opportunities that might earn you applause, but would steal your peace. You'll have to break invisible pacts with your former identity, the one that did everything to be loved, but never truly chose itself. That's the crossing. The moment clarity stops being an idea and becomes an attitude. Don't expect the world to understand you. Don't expect people to applaud. Clarity, when it comes, is lonely, but it gives you back something worth more than any external validation. Integrity, the feeling of being whole within yourself. And when you have that, you don't need maps. You become the compass. Have you noticed how the mind today is fuller than ever, and at the same time emptier of direction? It's like living in a room packed with stuff, where every corner screams for attention, but none offers a way out. You try to move, but you bump into everything. That's what happens when you accumulate too many ideas and digest none. We live in the age of mental overload. You have access to thousands of videos, books, podcasts, gurus, but how much of that truly transformed you? The truth is, you don't need more ideas. You need to eliminate the ones that pull you away from your truth. Clarity is not expansion. It's refinement. Picture a sculptor facing a block of marble. The beauty of the masterpiece lies not in what he adds, but in what he removes. He cuts away the excess, removes what's unnecessary, and brings forth the essential. Your mind, your life, your schedule, your decisions, they must be the same. But the world trained us otherwise. We were taught that more is always better. More courses, more projects, more goals, more tasks, more goals again. And you keep swallowing it all without chewing. And when you try to act, you choke on all the undigested content. You know what that causes? Paralysis, anxiety, and a constant sense of falling behind. But clarity, my friend, doesn't live in chaotic abundance. It lives in strategic silence. It's born when you have the courage to clean house, to look at everything you've accumulated, ideas, desires, promises, obligations, and ask, does this still serve me? Or does it just keep me trapped in a version of myself that has already expired? Because a peaceful mind is not one that thinks less. It's one that knows exactly what to do when it thinks. And that precision only comes through detachment. You'll need to let go of theories that sound beautiful, but never work for you. You'll have to let die models of success that belong to others, not to you. You'll need to say no to well-meaning advice. That carries the fear of those who never dare to live their own truth. And in the place of all that, what remains? Space. Space to hear what you've been ignoring for years. Space to be guided by conviction, not comparison. And in that space, clarity arises. Because clarity isn't noise. Clarity is boundary. It's edge. It's this, yes, and everything else, no. It doesn't matter who approves. It doesn't matter who criticizes. You know, and that's enough. A clear mind doesn't need constant direction. It is direction. And when you reach that place, fear fades. Doubt shrinks. And in place of chaos, you find something rare. The peace of someone who knows exactly what they're doing here. There's a question that can completely change your life. But it's not comfortable, not popular, not motivational. It's direct, raw, unavoidable. It's not, what do I want from life? It's, what am I willing to sustain? Because everyone wants something. To lose weight, to start a business, to have more time, to have freedom, to live with purpose. But how many of these desires become commitments? How many of these desires survive the first obstacle? The criticism of others? The frustration of a bad day? The fear of judgment? You see, real clarity is not measured by what you want. It's measured by what you're willing to lose in order to keep what's truly yours. You want to write a book? Are you willing to endure hours of silence, editorial rejection, daily discipline without guarantees? You want to change careers? Are you willing to face the butterflies in your stomach, the risk of the unknown, the pressure from your family? You want a healthy relationship? Are you willing to go through hard conversations, to heal old wounds, to offer emotional presence that demands truth? Because every real choice comes with a cost, and it's in that cost that your clarity is tested. Often, what looks like indecision is simply a lack of willingness to bear the pain of the past. And then people go in circles, wanting the new while protecting the old, desiring the outcome while avoiding the process. It's like trying to cross a river while holding on to both shores. At some point, you tear yourself apart. And the hardest part? While you delay that crossing, life keeps asking you silently every single day, are you going to live by what you want or by what you tolerate? Here's a simple, brutal analogy. Think of your energy as firewood in a bonfire. Every decision you make is a flame you light. But if you light 10 fires at once and 10 to none, what happens? They all go out. And you're left in the dark, shivering, blaming the wind. But it's not the wind. It's too many focuses. It's the lack of commitment to the essentials. That's why clarity is not about doing more. It's about deciding what's worth your energy and letting the rest die peacefully. Yes, die. You will need to let go of paths that no longer lead where you want to go. You will need to let go of habits that comfort you, but keep you hidden. You will need to let go of versions of yourself that were once useful, but now only prevent you from growing. Is it painful? Very. But it's also sacred. Because when you choose with clarity, even suffering changes shape. It stops being chaos and becomes sacrifice with meaning. And then something powerful happens. You stop running from pain and start using it as proof of what you're committed to. You begin to wake up tired, but in peace, full of tasks, but in alignment, afraid, but in motion. And that, my friend, is power. Not the arrogant power of someone trying to control everything, but the quiet power of someone who knows exactly where they're going and why. There's a lie we've been told, and many still believe it today. The idea that purpose is something you find, as if it were a mystical revelation, hidden during a trip to India, a weekend retreat, or a 3 a.m. Instagram live. It's not. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you confirm. It doesn't appear on euphoric days. It appears in the middle of boredom, repetition, daily choices. It's in quiet consistency that purpose reveals itself. Not in the thrill of an insight, but in the commitment to a path. Every day you wake up with choices to make, and each of those choices is a vote. A vote in favor of your clarity or in favor of your momentary comfort. Want to know your purpose? Observe what you've been quietly sustaining. Observe what you do even when no one applauds, even when no one notices, even when everything feels slow. That's where it is. You won't find purpose in pretty phrases. You'll find it in the kind of pain you're willing to carry with dignity. Purpose isn't what brings you pleasure all the time. It's what gives you meaning, even when it's hard. Want an example? Think of a gardener. Every day he waters, tends, cleans, waits. And no one applauds the gardener. But he keeps going. Because his purpose isn't in the applause. It's in the life he cultivates, day after day. And the most beautiful part? Sometimes the garden isn't even his. But he feels whole because he knows he's doing what must be done. It's the same with you. Sometimes you won't see results quickly. Sometimes no one will understand your dedication. Sometimes you'll doubt yourself. But if, even so, you keep going, that's purpose. It doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with that quiet feeling of, I'm in the right place, even if it's hard. And that feeling is priceless. But it doesn't happen on its own. It's born every time you repeat a choice that honors who you're becoming. Every time you say no to the easy shortcut. Every time you silence an old excuse, every time you choose to be faithful to your truth, even when it costs you comfort. The truth is simple, but it demands courage. You don't need to find your purpose. You need to confirm it. Confirm it in the way you work, in the way you love, in how you respond when everything is going wrong. Because it's there in the dark, in the silence, under pressure, that purpose gets stronger. And when it does, you change. Your presence changes. Your words carry weight. Your mind aligns. Your life organizes itself around what matters. And the best part? You stop comparing yourself. Because you're no longer looking for direction in others. You've become the compass. Have you noticed how life is always inviting you to do more? More tasks, more promises, more goals, more urgencies disguised as important. But there comes a time when the question changes. It's no longer, what else can I do? It becomes, what am I never willing to do again? That's the quiet turning point of clarity. It doesn't happen with fireworks or at big events. It happens on an ordinary day when you look honestly at your life and say, this is over. Final clarity isn't in everything you'll achieve. It's in what you, with full conviction, decide to abandon. And here's an exercise. Few do, but it changes everything. Grab a sheet of paper at the top right. What will I never tolerate again? And write it down with courage, with anger if needed, always with truth. Write things like, I will never again pretend I'm okay just to keep others comfortable. I will never again work on something that drains my soul every day. I will never again trade my peace for empty promises. Each line is a declaration of power. And make no mistake, eliminating is harder than accumulating, because eliminating requires grief. You'll miss the old version of yourself. You'll doubt, want to turn back, but keep going. Eliminating is a sign of maturity. It's you finally recognizing that your time is sacred and your energy is limited. It's like a warrior who surveys the battlefield and chooses where not to fight. Not out of fear, but out of purpose. Have you ever seen someone trying to carry the world on their shoulders? They live exhausted, impatient, with no time for themselves. Not because they're weak, but because they haven't yet realized that true strength is choosing what not to carry. Clarity is this: knowing what to release, knowing where not to invest, knowing what won't walk with you into the next chapter. And when you master that art, the world begins to respect you differently. People notice. Your presence changes. Your words change. Your silence weighs more than your screams once did. Because now, you no longer need to explain yourself. You know? And those who know, transmit. Clarity in the end is this: a conviction that lives in the body. It breathes with you. It stays with you. It says, even in silence, I know what I'm doing here. And that, my friend, changes everything. You're no longer adrift. You become unshakable. Because the one who knows what no longer serves them is the one who moves forward with the greatest lightness. If you've made it this far, it's no accident. This message found you because deep down you were already ready. Ready to stop surviving in the noise. Ready to silence what isn't yours. Ready to live a life of direction, not distraction. You weren't weak. You were overwhelmed. You weren't lost. You just weren't listening to the most important voice, yours. Now you have a choice before you. You can go back to the world and let it confuse you again. Or you can start living as someone who knows where they're going. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to have it all figured out. Start small, but start with intention. Here are some simple but powerful practices. Every day, before you begin, write down what is essential. Just 3 things, no more. The essential never shouts. It whispers if you let it. Make a never again list. Write what you'll no longer tolerate and read it out loud, because declaring is the first step to cutting. Review your silent choices. What do you repeat in secret? Your actions whisper your purpose more than your plan. Protect your boundaries as if they were sacred, because they are. And all clarity dies where boundaries are ignored. Choose what you're willing to sustain. Pain will always come, but you can choose a pain that builds instead of one that buries you. Make these practices your temple, and every time confusion returns, because it will, you'll know the way back to yourself. Remember, the world won't get quieter, but your mind can. The noise won't stop, But you can learn to listen only to what aligns you. Life won't choose for you. But clarity will give you back the power to choose with integrity. So now I ask you, are you ready to lead your own life? Are you ready to trade noise for direction, confusion for awareness, and hesitation for presence? Because if you are, the next step is yours. No one can walk it for you, but no one can stop you when you know where you're stepping. Pain shaped you, but its purpose, that will now define you.